Today's webinar is going to be more focused on account optimization, some more advanced settings and steps when using ShipStation. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is going to reduce some of the manual work that you're doing through automations and then ultimately optimize your shipping workflow. If you're just looking to get the most out of ShipStation or you're currently using us but are finding that you're doing a lot of manual work and want to find ways to reduce that, this is the perfect webinar for you. Our customers have seen a reduce of clicks by up to 40% by utilizing powerful automation tools in their ShipStation account. This is our agenda, what we'll cover today. I'm quickly going to talk about how to troubleshoot some common errors. A lot of those errors are very specific to, your selling channel, your process, whatever it is that you're seeing. So I am going to leave links in the chat. But what I'll do is I'll quickly show you where in ShipStation you'll notice those, and those help articles really walk through the steps to resolve them. So if you are seeing that you're having some errors on your account, those two articles will give you some guidance. You can always reach out to our support team as well. And then additionally, we're going to talk about some order optimization, talk about filters, how to create those and create custom views. We'll talk about shipping orders a bit quicker using the shipping sidebar, creating multiple labels at once with bulk updates. Talk about printing through ShipStation Connect. Excuse me. And then lastly, automation rules. I'll go ahead and get started here. So I am in my test account, and this is what I'll be using for our webinar session. It is going to be a bit more of a demo, but I'll be explaining everything as I go. As far as for this webinar, we did update our subscription plans. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is specific to the standard plan and above. The standard plan, I think it's that $29.99 plan. I think it encompasses our previous gold and silver plan, I want to say. But if you notice that maybe you don't have this feature or you're not seeing this on your account, it may be that you're on a different subscription plan. We have the free plan and then the new starter plan, and those don't really have access to like creating custom automations. Wanted to preface that. But so we're going to go ahead and get started with errors. So a lot of times, the most common error that you see, especially when you have a store connected, is that you might see an exclamation mark at the top right of this order refresh icon, is what this is. And ultimately, errors will typically display as a red exclamation mark. And so you'll know that something's going on. A lot of times, if you have an order error, you could typically resolve the error by just refreshing your store. What that does is it refreshes the store, imports new orders, and kind of like resets it, wakes it up a little bit, if you will. But you can typically just click on this button here if you're seeing an exclamation mark, and then you'll be able to resolve the error. If that icon still persists, that exclamation mark, you'll be able to hover over the store that has that error and then see more details about it. And if that happens, you can always reach out to support, open up that link that I sent over to you, and then be able to walk through some troubleshooting steps. As far as errors for your labels, those will typically display here around where that rate is. And those vary. A lot of times it could be that maybe the address is incorrect, and you'll notice that it'll say like, address is not valid. For the most part, address validations will typically allow for you to still create the label, but if there's something drastically missing, maybe a zip code or something, the system won't allow for you to do that. And so you'll have to take some troubleshooting steps there. But just wanted to point out where you guys might see some errors, and those help articles would really walk you through resolving them or at least getting started on troubleshooting. Now we'll go ahead and head over to our store settings page. And I do just want to mention a couple things that ShipStation offers. So to head over to our store settings, we'll open up that gear icon, head over to settings, selling channels, and then from here, you'll see your stores listed. If you want to connect a store, you can click on this connect a store button. We have integrations with a lot of the major selling channels and marketplaces, so you'll find those here. Once you've connected your store, you'll see it listed here. The first thing that I want to mention is whenever you connect a store, we list the store name here as new store name. So that's like new Shopify store, new Etsy store, new Magento store. And that's not really specific to your store. And you might not want to have that display on like a packing slip. So you can always change your store name directly in your account settings by heading to this three dotted icon next to your store and then click edit store details. So I just want to mention a couple store settings here. That store name field is where you can enter your store name. So this can be your business name. And the store name will display within ShipStation, but it can also display on your packing slips, sometimes your labels too. So I always recommend having your actual store name, your business name on here so that it's a lot more custom to you. The other thing you'll want to do, by default, we do set the import frequency to auto import, but you'll want to make sure you head here and have it set to automatic import. If it's not, if it's set to manual import, that's perfectly fine. And some merchants might want to have it set to manual import. Now, what these do is manual import will require for you to click on the order refresh icon up here at the top right in order to import orders. If you don't click this button, orders will not import automatically. So manual import means you got to click this. And it could be that, maybe you only want your orders or you only want to work on your orders at a certain time of the day. You don't want them just sitting here. You can always set that to manual import. However, most popular is having it set to automatic import because what this will do is periodically the system will automatically do that manual import, refresh your store, and get all of your orders into ShipStation. So that automatic import, you'll want to be sure that that setting is enabled. You can always click on the order refresh icon manually anytime to make sure that you have the most current orders, but automatic import will do that for you. Alrighty, once you've made any changes, you'll want to click Save Changes before continuing or exiting out of the settings page. The other thing that I wanted to mention is we do support a couple branding options for you. So we've got your company name field here as well. And as it says here, this will display on your packing slips, the shipment email notifications, and then also your branded tracking and returns page. We won't talk too much about the branded tracking and returns page, but just know, if you are using our ShipStation emails, whenever you create a label, you use our emails to notify your customers. On those emails, it'll have a link for the tracking number. That tracking link can either take the customer to the carrier's tracking page or your own branded tracking page that you would set up. We also have a branded returns portal. So if you do offer returns, that returns portal is like a self-service returns. So you'll have like a website link. You can add that onto your store or within those tracking emails that you send out and your customer can then initiate a return on their end. So with all of these, the branding settings for them is going to be right here on this page. You can upload or enter your phone number, company email, store logo, and so on. And then here at the bottom is the branded tracking page. So I'm just going to quickly show you what that looks like. Mine might be a little wonky. Yeah, I knew this image was a little wonky, but say I am using those shipment confirmation emails. My customer is going to receive that email saying, hey, your order has shipped. Here's the tracking link. And that tracking link, when they click it, it'll take them to this branded tracking page. And this is customized, it's highly customizable. You can change all of these colors here. And then it'll show you or it'll show the customer the estimated delivery time. It also links directly to the carrier's tracking page. Here we can have our return policy displayed, and then it shows the actual shipment activity, so where it is on its way to the customer. The other thing that we've added is you can change the layout, how this displays, but you can also upload promotional images. So if you want to, if you have like a new product releasing or maybe a popular product that you want your customer to take a look at, you can have the image here, the product image. I'm sure yours will look a lot nicer than mine, but it'll have the product image, and then it could actually link over back to your website where they can then or purchase a new item. But yeah, this is the tracking page. Again, the only way that they'll be able to see this tracking page is if you're using our confirmation emails. But yeah, this is how it would look on a phone. Alrighty. So that's the branded tracking pages. If you do want to set up our emails, or just be sure that your emails are set up, they would be here on the emails page. And then this will just be set to the default template. Now, if you're already using like your store's, emails, you've already got everything set up on your store, you don't want for ShipStation to send the emails. You can instead set this to don't send email. I think if you're using the newer, uh, like one of the newer accounts, it'll be like a checkbox here. But again, this is where you can go to turn those emails off. I believe by default they're turned on. And so you'll want to come here and turn those off if you are already sending emails through an external source. So um, when your store is connected to ShipStation, we communicate with your store. So we receive orders, we send over the shipment information, and then that will trigger your store to then send the email. However, if you don't have those emails set up on your store, you can use ShipStations. Alrighty, so that is some store settings that I wanted to highlight. We do also have, you can edit how those emails will look and also edit your packing slips as well to be specific to your store. Some merchants, they want their packing slips to be highly customized, and so they want to add like QR codes on there. So depending where you're at, we have some options for customizing those. Now, I just want to mention here, we've got emails here in this drop-down list. We have that don't send email, and then you can also choose a custom email template here. For your packing slips, if you do want to create specific packing slips for your store, you want to customize them, here is where you can go to select your template. And once you create a custom template, it'll be listed here. Where you can go to edit those is going to be on the left-hand side where it says templates. Here we've got our email templates, so you can create a new one or copy and then make your changes. Packing slips. This packing slip setting is going to be a like HTML editor. So I want to mention that because uh, let's see. Did I click copy? Yeah, got to click copy. So this is how you can edit your packing slip. There's two options to edit your packing slip. This one is a bit more advanced, and you would need to know like HTML code to be able to edit this. You can always download samples to see if it's to your liking. We have other packing slip edits that you can make that are a little bit more basic. And to do that, you would head over to printing setup, and then click document options here next to packing slips. And then here are some of the modifications you can make. Again, these are a little bit more simple. The changes that you make here will affect all of your packing slips. So if you have multiple stores connected, whatever edits you make here will affect all of those stores' packing slips. If you do want to be more specific per your store, I would recommend, setting or creating a custom template with that HTML. Uh, so yeah, those are some edits you can make. I'm going to head back to the orders page. And then next, we're going to talk about some order optimization. So as you're using your ShipStation account and as your business is booming, you'll probably get a lot of orders in your ShipStation account. Now, right now I have 44 orders, but that still requires me to scroll down a bit. I have a lot of columns here, so I need to scroll, right and left. And so it can get a bit chaotic sometimes. Uh, I want to highlight a couple features that we have at ShipStation where you can kind of display only the orders that you want to see, only the orders that you want to work on, and just make everything a little bit more organized. So I'm going to first talk about columns. With columns, you have like a default setting of columns. Columns can be moved around. You can add columns and remove columns as well. And then you can also sort your columns through, ascending or descending order if you want it in alphabetical by recipient, or if you want it maybe by when the order was placed, order date. You can organize your orders grid like that. To add columns, it'll be by clicking on the columns icon right here. And then from this list, you're able to add columns by clicking on the checkbox. And then you can also remove columns if you don't need them by unchecking that box. Whenever you add a column, I'm going to just click Save. When you add a column, it gets moved to the far right of the screen. And so you can click and drag it to wherever you'd like that to be. And then if you remove a column, obviously it goes away. But yeah, you can move these columns around wherever you'd like them to live. You can also pin columns. So here I see the order number column on the left-hand side. As I'm scrolling through, that information is disappearing. So while I'm able to see, the items here and the service, I don't really know which order number this is associated with. If you want for a column to follow you along as you're scrolling through the grid, you can pin columns. And to do that, you'll click on the Columns tab and then just hover over an active column that you want to pin. So here I'm going to pin my order number. You can also edit it, unpin it, but I'm going to click Save. And now it adds this little bar on the right of that. And then as I scroll through, that column follows me along. You can pin up to 2 columns at a time. So whatever's the most important information to you, you can pin that and then they'll follow you along. And then you can always unpin if you no longer need it. But that's your columns. So now that we have our grid kind of organized how we want it, I'm going to talk about filters. So filters are a really great way to keep your account organized. And so the filters that you can use are going to be listed here on the filter by section. We have more filters than this. These are just the default ones that display on the forefront, but you could click on the other drop down to find all of the other kinds of filters that you can use. So you can also combine filters to get very specific with the kinds of orders that you want to see. For instance, let's say I am new to the company, right? Not necessarily new to ShipStation, but I just joined the team. I'm a new employee. And right now, I'm only able to focus on single item orders, right? I don't want to start shipping out really complicated orders. I just want to focus on one item at a time per package. I'm going to go ahead and use the filter by bar to filter by quantity. I'm going to click on Other, head down over to total quantity. Yeah, total quantity. Here I'm able to specify I'm going to do equal to, but we have other options here. So I'm going to do equal to and then enter 1 here and click Apply. And now, instead of seeing all 44 orders from my stores, I'm able to just see the 14 that have just one item in them. So that's the first step of filtering. Now, if I look closer, I do see that we have some international orders in the bunch, and I'm not ready to ship international orders just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and filter once more by destination, choose domestic, and click apply. And now instead of, the 44, I'm only seeing the 10 orders that are domestic orders with just one item in them. And now I'm able to go down this list and, just prepare these single item shipments, US shipments. I don't have to worry about customs. So that's, an example of how to filter. You can combine as many filters as you want to get to the orders that you want to see, want to work on. Another great example of this is like, let's say you have an item that's out of stock, and maybe you want to just narrow down, see all of those orders with that item, and maybe place them on hold. I'll give that example here in just a moment. But you could use filters for a variety of stuff. It's just ways to help you stay organized and increase your efficiency here. Now, if, as you notice, there is this additional tab here that's added. So if you find that you're using a lot of the same filters every time, you can, instead of you clicking and selecting the filters every single time that you log in, you can instead save these filters as a view. So view is going to be a saved collection of filters. You can also save like how the grid is organized as well. And so to save this, you will just hover over this custom view, click to save tab, enter a name. So for here, I'm going to do US quantity 1, and then click Save View. So it adds it as a tab. And then now if I log out, log back into ShipStation, that filter set is going to be saved for me. So I don't have to use my filters every time. I can either see all orders or those pre-saved filtered orders, and it saves the columns as well. With saving views, this is going to be available for every user on the account. So let's say I'm the manager and I want, I have that new employee. They don't have to go in and create those filters for themselves. I can say, hey, when you come in for the day, work on US quantity 1. And then they can just click this tab and start working on these orders. You can create as many views as you need. You can also create views in the shipments page. So, this might be helpful if you have like those international orders. Let me just do is not US. I don't know if it'll show. Yeah, figured it wouldn't show any orders, but uh, on or before today. Yeah, there we go. And so you can save this as a view here as well. International. And then this will kind of allow for me to quickly view all of my international orders, maybe print out customs forms, reprint out any documents that I need. Makes it a lot faster there. So I'll head back to the orders page. Next, we're going to talk about creating tags, and I'm going to use that out of stock product as an example. So tags are a great way also to stay organized in ShipStation. You can use tags to highlight specific information about orders. You can create tags and apply them directly to your orders, or kind of automate this by tagging products. You could also create automation rules, which we'll talk about a little later, but you could create automation rules to automatically tag the orders for you. So lots of examples with tags. Do I have my tags column? I do. When you create a tag and it applies to an order, it will be added to the tags column. And the great thing about this is not only is it like color coded, but you could hover over that tag and then see details about it without actually having to click into the order. With tags, you could also filter by tag, so I can filter and see all of my gift orders, all my one gift order. But yeah, that's tags. To create tags, it's very easy. You can create tags on the orders page, the products page, or the customers page. So to create the tag, you'll click on that tag drop down, click Manage Tags, and then click Add Tags here. You can also edit or remove your tags. Here I'm going to say out of stock. You can add as many tags as you need if you want to create all of them at once. Select a color here, and then Add Tag. Now this is just adding my tag to my list. I now have to go in and either manually tag orders or tag products. So let's say I have one product that is out of stock and I want to go ahead and tag that product, right? So that when you tag products or customers, anytime a product imports or an order imports with that tagged product, the order is already going to be tagged for you. Same with customers. If you tag a customer record, whenever that customer places an order and it imports, that order will be tagged. So I'm going to go ahead and head over to products. And let's say, I think I have Cheetos in one of my orders. Let's say my Cheetos are out of stock, right? I'm going to go ahead and tag this order product. So add that out of stock tag. Now, the way that this is right now, it's only going to tag orders that import moving forward. So my current orders that have Cheetos, those are not going to be tagged right now. It's only going to be orders that import moving forward. However, with product records, you can open up that product record. We've got our tag here, and there's this checkbox at the bottom that says apply changes to open orders. So if I click this and then click save, it will now apply that tag to my current orders, my current open orders, as well as any orders that import in the future. So if I head over to my orders page, yeah, there we go. There was one. So I should see that one tag, or rather that one order with the Cheetos, and that has been, yeah, we got our Cheetos right there. That has been tagged for me already. And so now if I wanted to, I could, maybe create a view for this so that I always see my orders that are out of stock. Let's say I'm going to go ahead and do that. Out of stock. Create a view for that so I could quickly jump into that. And then now what I would do if I had an order that came in with an out of stock product, I'd probably place that order on hold until my product is back in stock. So if I know it's going to come back next week, I'm going to go ahead and place it on hold. And what that will do is that it moves the order out of awaiting shipment and over to this on hold status here on the left-hand side. And so this will also prevent me or my team from accidentally shipping this order out since it is out of stock. And you can always remove orders out of stock as well. So let's say this product came back in stock sooner. There we go. You could select it, click remove hold, confirm, and I might need to refresh. And now it has moved that order out of hold back into awaiting shipment. And if that product is back in stock, I will definitely want to come back here and then remove that tag. And then again, you can also add and remove tags from here by directly in the product record, but also want to make sure that that applies to my open orders. Head back here and now this should show, oops, it was this one. This should show no orders. I think it might just be taking a while to update. If not, we might need to manually remove that tag from that order. Yeah, that's what it is. But that is tags. You can also create automation rules for your tags as well, depending on if you want to create a rule to apply the tag or have an action apply to your orders based off of a tag. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. But that's creating tags, filters, and views. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Next, I'm going to walk through creating a shipment using the shipping sidebar. So what the shipping sidebar is, it can be enabled by clicking on this Show Sidebar checkbox that's right here to the right of that filter bar. What the sidebar does is it serves as a window into your order. So there's a couple ways that you can view orders. One is by clicking that order number. It opens up the order details page and you're able to see everything, but it does take up the entire screen, right? You can use the sidebar to also view the details of the order. And the first window it shows you is the configure shipment window. So this will allow for you to actually specify details about the shipment. Below that, as you scroll down, you can see the items in the order, the customer information, order summary, any notes, tags, and so on. Also, with these, they can be moved around too. So if you want to see some things higher up or right in the forefront, you can go ahead and move those around. You can also prepare your orders for shipping here. For instance, you can select on the service here by clicking that service drop down and choosing the service that you'd like. You can also browse for rates here. So if you don't really know what service you want to use for this order, you want to find maybe the cheapest option, maybe the one that'll get there faster, you can click on that little calculator icon. And it's going to show you the rate calculator for this specific order, showing you not only the service, but the estimated delivery time and also the rate. So this can kind of help you to shop around for rates. Also, and this goes with all of your orders as you're creating your shipments. We do have a brand new feature called Rate Shopper. Should be available to all of your on all of your accounts, especially if you're on our newer accounts. The Rate Shopper feature is available for free as like a freemium option. There's also a paid option. I think as you upgrade your subscription, there's ways that you can update these the services behind these. What this feature does is behind each of these rate shopper options, there's a couple services. So let's say there is UPS Ground, FedEx Ground, USPS Ground Advantage, and so on, right? There's services behind each of these options. Best value, whenever you select this, or whenever you select any of these options, the system is going to run through all of the services that are behind these options and find you either the best value, which would be the lowest cost option that'll get there within 4 days. The cheapest value will be, or the cheapest option will be lowest cost option, regardless of delivery time. And then fastest will be what's going to get there faster. So, like I said, each of these has services behind them. They can be managed if you're on a higher plan. But with this feature, we have seen customers save an average of about 4% per label by letting the rate shopper make the choice for them. And it's also going to reduce a lot of time for you. Like I said, you've got the rate browser that you can, scroll through, but it's going to take you some time to find the best option for you. With this feature, all that it will do is you just click it once, it's going to find the best value for you, apply it to your order, and then you'll be able to then create and print the label. So if you do want to reduce some clicks, this rate shopper feature is available for you. For new customers, it is included on the free trial, as well as on our standard plans and our premium plans. So keep an eye out if you guys want to test it out. If you have it on your account, highly recommend testing it out. And so that's the shipping sidebar. Also, with the shipping sidebar, you can create multiple shipments at once. So I'm going to use my view over here as an example. Okay, cool. This one was selected as well. But I'm going to go ahead and head over to my view. Now, let's forget that, I'm brand new to the company. If I was new, I would want to work on each order one at a time. But for the example's sake, let's say I want to go ahead and just create all of the labels for all of these orders, right? I can go ahead and click on this checkbox to the left of order number. It's going to select all. And now I can use the bulk update section to apply services, ship from, packages, all of these options. I can apply all of these to all of these selected orders at once. So I'm going to go ahead and open up service and package. Here I'm going to select a service. So we'll do FedEx Ground, choose a package. And then once I click update, it's going to apply these changes to all of my selected orders. Now, I will say with the bulk update feature, you do need to be wary of all of the orders that you have selected because if you choose an order that maybe you didn't want to go FedEx Ground or whatever it is, the system will apply whatever setting you've set there. So keep that in mind. But yeah, now I've gone ahead and applied my service and package type and dimensions to all of these orders. I can go ahead and create and print all of the labels for all of these orders. Um, I'll go ahead and do that now. Oops, I think I selected a ShipStation service. Huh, that is strange. Okay, let's try it again. Encountered a rating error. Dang it. Well, typically that does work. Let's see here. FedEx Ground. That should be mine. Ah, here we go. That was that. Go ahead and change this here. I think I had like an automation rule applied to it. The rest should be good. Okay, we'll try this one more time because I do want to talk about ShipStation Connect. I'm just going to do these couple ones. It's doing it again. It's all good. I'm going to just go ahead and create the label for one of my orders. FedEx. Cool. That's fine. That was an inventory error. But okay, so we've got our label created. If you were in our webinar session yesterday, I talked about ShipStation Connect briefly. What ShipStation Connect is it's an application that you can download for free through your ShipStation account. And what it will do is it will register the devices that you have connected to your computer, whether that's a printer, a scale, or a scanner. We'll read those devices and then we'll be able to either, send labels and packing slips over to your printer, read the weight from your scale, or you can utilize scanners in ShipStation. Otherwise, if I didn't have ShipStation Connect installed, I'd have to download this label as a PDF or select the printer icon and then choose my printer from here. So it's a couple clicks there. If I had ShipStation Connect, I would see my printer listed right here. And you can also set default printers so that the moment that you click create and print, it'll just send that label to your printer and you can move on to the next order. So I'm going to show you where that application lives, how to download it. You can head over to that gear icon, head to printing, and then ShipStation Connect. This is where you can install it. I have it installed, but I haven't logged in. But you would install it here. Once it's installed, you'll log in to ShipStation Connect with your login information. And then you'll see your printers listed here. The other thing with this, you can also share printers with everybody on your team. So even if they're not connected to that printer, if it's shared with them, they'll be able to send those labels to whatever printer is connected. Also with sharing printers, if it's just you, but you're maybe, on a trip or something and you need a label printed and somebody's going to ship the package for you, through your ShipStation account, you can log in, create a label, and then it'll send it to that shared printer, even if you're not in the same building or location. Now, once you have ShipStation Connect installed and you want to set up a default printer, you'll do that by heading to Printing Setup and then click the Always Prompt link next to Label and then choose Print via ShipStation Connect. From there, you'll see the list of printers, so you can choose which one you want to be the default. And then, my earring just fell, and then anytime that you create your label, it'll send it directly to whichever printer you have connected here. And if you need to change that, you can always come back to this setting and adjust your printer. Alrighty. And okay, I know we've got about 2 minutes left before I wanted to open up to questions, but I will get to the questions in just a moment. I do want to talk about automation. So we talked a bit about reducing those manual clicks. And it does take, when you're thinking about all of the work that you're doing, any amount of time that you can save by either processing your orders, selecting services, tagging orders, all of the things. Any time that you can save is really valuable because it's time that you get back in your day to focus on other parts of your business. So we definitely want to make it so that you're reducing those clicks, reducing time in ShipStation by allowing for the system to work for you. So with automation rules, there's a couple of forms of automation. There's three kinds of automation. We have product automation, service mapping, and automation rules. I'm going to highlight automation rules right now, but you can always check out our resources to learn more about all the forms of automation. With automation rules, they're very customizable. An automation rule will apply to your orders the moment that they import into ShipStation. And how they apply and what they apply is up to you. So to create a rule, we'll go ahead and click Create a Rule. And this is where you would go and set up your automation rule. So like I said, it depends how you want to set up your automation rule. A rule can apply to every order that's imported, orders that match existing filters, or orders that have specific criteria that you would set up here in this rule. And then we've got our action. So what is this rule going to apply to the order? I would be cautious of setting this or choosing this option. It's not very often that you have every single order going the same way. It can be that you always use UPS or FedEx Ground to ship your orders, and in that case, go ahead. But you do need to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want to save time on? And then how would I want this rule to apply to my orders? And so with this, I'm going to create a rule that we typically recommend our merchants to create, especially if you ship like lower weight shipments. And then again, with creating rules at this time, I believe, yeah, the starter plus or the free plan that's different from the free trial. We have a free plan now. The free plan does not allow for you to create custom automations, but the starter plan and above does allow for you to create some automations. I will say on the starter plan, you can create automation rules that are shipping focused. So this will still work for you. On the standard plan, you can create all kinds of rules. So if you want to place an order on hold, add a tag, all of those things, if you're on the standard plan, you'll be able to have free reign. But I'm going to create a rule today that is going to be useful for people even on the starter plan. And that is to apply USPS Ground Advantage to orders that are under 16 ounces. We recommend this rule because Ground Advantage does tend to be the cheaper service for those lower weight shipments. So if you ship lower weight products, you'll probably want to build this rule out. And so needs three things. The first thing is going to be a name. So I'm just going to do USPS 16 ounces. And then I'm going to choose criteria. So I'm going to use specific criteria. First criteria I want to apply is going to be order weight. Now, I scrolled through just a bit. Just know we have all kinds of criteria. The same amount that you saw when we opened up filters, we've got that same criteria here. So I'm going to choose order weight. Here I'm going to specify is a less than or equal to. And then here I'm going to enter 16 ounces. So as long as it's equal to or less than 16 ounces, I want for this rule to apply. Now, with this rule or the action that I want to apply, USPS Ground Advantage is only a domestic service. So if I have an international order import and it's under 16 ounces, if I was not, if I, let's say I went ahead and just chose my action, saved the rule, but I had an international order come in, this rule will apply to that order. Even though it's international and can't go USPS Ground Advantage, the system is still going to apply that service. It's when you actually go to create the label that you'll then get an error. And then you're going to have to go and manually change the service, and that's going to be a couple clicks, right? So, as you're building your rule out, think of all of the different scenarios that you might encounter and be specific with your automation criteria. It's better to be really specific than have it be, open, I guess, and like apply to all kinds of orders. So I'm going to add another line of criteria, and here I'm going to choose international is false. I want for that to be false. And now I can go ahead and set the action to set the carrier service and package type. Here I'm going to go ahead and choose USPS Ground Advantage, and then the package. So typically, you might just want to set the package as package, just general package. But if you know that, let's say I know all of my orders that are below 16 ounces, they're probably going to go in a smaller box. So I'll just choose this box here. And that way my dimensions are entered for me. Or you can choose package and then manually enter the dimensions as you're creating your shipments. Up to you. You can add multiple actions to a rule so it can do multiple things for you. And then, if you even want to get more specific with the criteria, you can add as many lines of criteria as you'd like. Just know every line of criteria is going to be treated as an and statement. So that would mean this rule is only going to apply to orders that weigh less than or equal to 16 ounces and are not an international order. So just know it's going to read it like that. These are all of the actions I want to apply. So I'm going to go ahead and save this rule. I'm not too sure what this is, but I'm just going to make it inactive for now. So similarly to how that product, when I tagged that product, I said it's only going to apply to orders that import moving forward. That's similar to automation rules. When you create a rule, it will only apply to orders that import moving forward. But we do have a similar button to that product. It's called Reprocess Automation Rules. And what this will do is apply recent changes to your current open orders. So very similar to that button that we saw in our products page. However, just know if you do reprocess automation rules, it's going to apply those changes to your orders if they, are relative to that criteria. So if you made any manual changes, we'll override it. Say I manually selected like a priority service for an order that was 12 ounces. Um, Once I reprocess this rule, it's going to make changes to that. So as a warning, and we have that warning here, but for this example, I'm going to go ahead and continue with my reprocessing so we can see it in action. Going to give it a refresh, head over to orders, and I'm going to use the filters here. We needed weight. There we go. Weight is less than or equal to 16 ounces. Click apply. Destination is domestic. Click apply. And now, if I open up this order, I've got my rule that applied to it. It's got USPS Ground Advantage, my package type. All of these have been saved for me. Actually, I think I set package as package. Yeah. So these just had previous dimensions. But anyway, so, putting everything that we've worked on together today, if I had, let's say I'm going to go ahead and just save this as a view. I have my automation rule created, right? I can log into my ShipStation account, head over to that view that I have saved that I know I have an automation rule for. I can come in, select all of my orders, and then click create and print labels. And now all of those 19 labels have been created for me, and I can work on packing them, work on my other orders and so on. So there's a lot that you can do with ShipStation, a lot of customizing, a lot of manual work that you can save yourself. So I hope today's session was informative for you all. Do know that, as far as if you are on, a standard plan or starter plan, you will have access to most of the features that I talked about today. With the free plan, you will have access to the filters and views, so you can always use those and tags. But automations are really powerful within ShipStation, and as you saw, there's a lot that you could do. You can reduce your clicks in ShipStation to where all you have to do is just log in, select all of your orders, and then create and print your labels. But yeah, thank you guys again. I hope you have a great rest of your day.